Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about all the games I played in July. So I keep track of all of my board game plays through the app BG Stats, Board Game Stats app, and that links to Board Game Geek, where it also keep track of my collection and stuff. So in July, I had 46 plays of 21 different games. 6 of them were new to me, but there were also some that I hadn't played in a while and haven't talked about on this channel yet. So first I'm going to quickly go over the ones that I've talked about before many times. I had 10 plays or read-throughs of My First Adventure Finding the Dragon. It's a choose-your-own-adventure role-playing game for toddlers. I had 7 plays of Kites, a hectic real-time cooperative game with stand timers. 3 plays of MicroMacro Crime City Full House, which is Where's Waldo but with a crime scene. 3 plays of Cross Clues, which is a cooperative word guessing game but real time. 1 play of Phantom Ink, which is a team-based word guessing game where you're doing 1 letter at a time for each answer. And then 1 play of Illiterati, which was a review copy. I talked about this last month, but I played a solo play of this. The last month I played 5 players, but this is a cooperative word building game. And I tried to play it solo with my kids around. So they were just like climbing on my lap and stuff. There's like a timer element to it, so it was kind of difficult. I still want to play it at like 2 or 3 players because I think it might be best at that. At solo, there were too few letters for me to be able to get good words easily, and so I had to redraw more and get more penalties. All right, on to the new games or games that I haven't talked about in this series yet. So first, I had 2 plays of Mahjong, which is not a new game. But I talked about this on the podcast on episode 188. But I used to play Mahjong as a kid, but I didn't know the scoring rules. So Mahjong is a rummy type game. You're collecting sets. There's tiles, and you're trying to collect sets and trying to go out by like completing your hand. But I used to just play like very simple and not know any of the scoring. And I learned recently the Hong Kong scoring variant from a friend. And then we also learned the Japanese scoring variant, and we're trying to get into that. So there's different scoring methods in the game, but like the basic game is the same. It's like a rummy game. But the scoring changes things a lot because you're like trying to go for specific hands in order to go out and get better points, or like you can't go out with certain hands because you have to have a scoring hand in order to go out. So that changes the game a lot, and also like you're paying attention more to other people's discards and trying not to discard things that will go into their good hands. Like you can kind of see what they're going for. So I've been having a lot of fun with Mahjong. We even bought a Mahjong set from Japan, so we're excited to be playing more of that. A new to me game that I played twice was Challengers. I also talked about this on the podcast on episode 187. So Challengers is a card game where you're playing 1v1 games against other people and then like going tournament style. But the card game itself is kind of like war. You just flip over the card and let your deck play out. There's no decisions during the card game. But there are decisions in between each round. You're going to be getting new cards into your deck. So like you get to draw cards and then pick some and put it into your deck, and you get to get rid of some cards. So like as the games go on, you're building up your deck and trying to get a deck that synergizes well. And so that's kind of fun. It felt kind of like a light Millennium Blades to me. I mentioned this on the podcast. Millennium Blades was more complicated, like card game themed around trading card games. But it was like the tournament part of that. And so if you like card game tournaments, light, like just having like a fun card game tournament, but like not too serious, Challengers was a lot of fun. I also played 2 plays of 13 Words, another new to me game. This is a cooperative word guessing game. I like a lot of those. This one was kind of hard though. There's these words around the table, I guess 13 of them, and then there's 1 word in the middle. And on your turn, you're picking secretly which word around it matches the one in the middle. And then everyone else is also picking what they think you'll pick. And so if people match you, then you get points. But sometimes like none of the words match the middle one, or there's a lot of words that match the little middle one, so it's kind of hard to like get points. And then as the turns go on, you flip over the card that you picked and put that in the middle, so there's fewer and fewer words out around the circle. So it gets easier as the game goes on because there's less to choose from. I also played 2 plays of Cheeky Monkey, which is also not new to me, but I think I haven't mentioned it before on one of these videos. Cheeky Monkey is a press your luck game. We have a version that's inside a monkey stuffed animal, so it doesn't actually look like a board game. People are always confused when we bring it out. But you're trying to draw animal chips from a bag and try to get the most. But there's like different distributions of animals. There's 10 monkeys in the bag, 9 hyenas, and then down to 3 elephants. And if you draw 2 of the same animal, so you're drawing animal one at a time, if you draw 2 of the same animal, then you bust and like you don't get any of the animals. But if you stop before that, then you get to like keep your animals and stack them up. Another thing is if you draw an animal that someone else has on the top of their stack, then you get to steal theirs. So like your stack matters. And then it's called Cheeky Monkey because whenever you draw a monkey, you can trade it with someone else's top animal from their stack. So like you draw monkeys and trade it, and then you can draw another monkey and then take it back. So that's the strategy you could go for, but I rarely execute it well because I end up just busting when I try to draw for things. But yeah, it's a fun press your luck game. I also had one play, or like a partial play, of Cantaloop Book 2. So I'd played Cantaloop Book 1 before. It's a point and click adventure, like solo game, or I play it solo. It's basically reading through a book, and it's like a point and click computer game, but in a book. And so Book 2, I played a partial game. I logged it as one play because I should finish that at some point. But it had less of the story part, I think, well, so far, and more, there's like a mini game within the game. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like a puzzly mini game, but it doesn't feel as much of a point and click as the first one. We also played one play of Adventures of Robin Hood, which I think I hadn't mentioned before here because we had played like the rest of the chapters a while ago and we hadn't finished it yet. So Adventures of Robin Hood is a campaign game where it's based around Robin Hood. You're all different characters and you're moving around on this board. But the way you move is like, you have these wooden pieces that are a certain length and you can put them touching your character, and then you can put your character on the end of the wooden length pieces, and that's like how you can move. And then you're trying to do different objectives based on your story. Also on the board, there's different pieces that you like flip over, you take it off and flip over, kind of like an advent calendar, but like with things that you can take out of the board, which seemed kind of novel, but it's kind of annoying. We hadn't played it in a while because we had like a 4-player group that we were playing it with, and so we finally played the last adventure, and so we're done with the campaign. We didn't like the game that much, so we're glad that we finally got to finish it, so we don't have to play it anymore. I think it was the first game we played, we liked it kind of, but like we were hoping for more gameplay or more story, and like we didn't like the gameplay that much or the story that much, so I was disappointed in the campaign of that. All right, and I played some children's games with my kids. So I've had 2 plays of Here Fishy Fishy, which is a fishing children's game with magnetic fish and fishing pole. I played another quarter game of CoraQuest, which is a dungeon crawling game. My kids aren't quite old enough to play a full game, but there's like 4 story points in the first scenario, at least, that we are shuffled into the deck at different intervals, and so we got to the first one, so that's a quarter of a game, and we played by the rules this time, so that was cool. My kid wanted to play as a goblin because he likes like the green thing. He didn't want to play any of the heroes, so we just said, okay, yeah, this can be your figure, but otherwise we were playing by the rules, and it was fun. New to my kid game that we played was Robot Turtles. So this was a game that I backed on Kickstarter like 10 years ago. Before I had kids. I had given a copy to like my friend's kid, and then we had a copy for our nephew who also wasn't born at that point, and then a copy for us. So we finally played it with one of my kids, and he was actually able to play. So this is a programming game for kids. So there's turtles, and the parent moves the turtle around, and the kid plays these cards that move the turtle, like rotate the turtle or move it forward. And so like the game, you're not supposed to have any instructions. Basically you're saying, oh, try to get to the gem, and then try playing cards. And so he plays the card and sees what it does. And so I was kind of helping him along, saying like, oh, what card moves the turtle forward? Was there a card that did that? And he was actually getting it. So that was really exciting. He calls it Ninja Turtles. So I also had a play of Monster Munch, which I might have mentioned before, but it's a push your luck memory kids game. It's also for slightly older kids. My kid wasn't really understanding the press your luck, but your monster is moving around and trying to avoid the food of the color die that you roll. So like the color that you roll, if you turn it over, then you say, oh, it's yucky, and you can't move forward anymore. Like, so you keep like turning over things until you decide to stop, or you turn over the color that you rolled. So he was kind of confused about why the color of food that was yucky kept changing each turn. Like he didn't really understand that the color that he rolled was something that he didn't want to get. So I think that's probably for when he's a little older. And then had one play of Teddy's Colors and Shapes. I think my kid might have had more solo plays or like with other people too, but Teddy's Colors and Shape is just a shape or color matching game. Put the pieces into like the little shapes that match. And then for Tabletop Live Network, TLN, I streamed at the end of the month. It was themed travel games. So I streamed actually 4 different print and play games, free print and play games that are kind of travel themed. So first I played Everest 1924, which is a roll and write where you're climbing Mount Everest by you're rolling dice and trying to get straights in the dice to like ascend. And it's really hard to get the last one because you have 6 dice and you're trying to get a straight of 6. You have to get exactly a straight of 6 to get to the top. There are some things you can do to like mitigate the rolls, but when you do that, you have to discard dice. So to get to the top, you have to like roll well. And I did not get to the top. I got pretty close though. And then I had 2 plays of Leaky Boat, which I've actually played before. But Leaky Boat is a solo real-time game where you're in a leaky boat, I guess, trying to collect treasure. But you're rolling dice and you have to spend them to do different things like move around on the board, and then you're trying to get to islands. And when you get to the island for the treasure, you get another die in your pool. But there's an hourglass timer, that's a 1 minute. And in order to flip it over, you have to roll all your dice the same number. You can like re-roll them. But like if you spent it to move, you can't get it back until you spent all your dice. So like you have to make sure you have your dice to flip the hourglass over because when it runs out, then you lose. So you have to keep doing that. And as you get more treasure, it's harder to turn it over. So that can be really tough. I've played it a few times now and I've won a couple times. So I don't know how much staying power it has since it's always the same map now. And it's like, I've got this path that I like going through. But it was fun for the few plays. I also played one play of 18 Right, which is a solo roll and write game that's themed around 18xx games. It's kind of like you're building routes, but then trying to balance out these 3 corporations because you're trying to get their stock prices all to be above a certain amount. And the one with the best route will have their stock price go up, and the other ones will have their stock price go down each turn. So you're like trying to juggle them. And if 2 of them tie, then they both go up. But if 3 of them tie, there's 3 companies, then they all go down. So you want like to juggle around so that 2 of them are tied each time, but like change which ones because you can't have any of them go too low. So that was kind of interesting if you like roll and writes, which I don't really like roll and writes, but I've just been playing more of them because of like the print and play, the free print and play stuff. I like doing that for some reason. And then the last game I played for TLN is a free print and play game, but also a children's game. So combining my interests. It's called Co-op Train Game. I actually played it solo, but I think I want to start playing it with my kids soon. My kids like trains, so that's why I was interested in it. But you're moving trains around trying to pick up items and then deliver them to certain locations because each item needs to like go to a certain location, and you're trying to do this before time runs out. So you roll a die, and usually that means you can move 1. Sometimes you can move twice. Sometimes it moves, and it also moves the sun, which is your little timer thing. So you're just trying to pick up everything and deliver it. Pretty simple, but seems like a good children's game. And so that was all the games I played in July. My favorite new to me game in July was Challengers. I had a lot of fun with that. I do really badly. I keep getting like last place or maybe second to last, but I still have a lot of fun building the decks and doing the tournaments. And then my favorite not new to me game is Mahjong, but that's actually kind of new to me too because I didn't have Mahjong with scoring. So it's pretty new, like it's very, very different. So yeah, that's also my favorite new to me game, I guess. But let me know in the comments what your favorite games of July were. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye.